This week, Missouri's governor used his veto power on budget bills. Missouri's state constitution gives the governor the power to veto specific items in the budget. This power is often called a line item veto. Most states grant this power to their governors, but the specifics of that power can be pretty different depending on where you live. In some places, the governor can delete just a few letters to change the entire meaning of a budget item. In Missouri, the governor has the power to change items of appropriation, so his power doesn't go that far, but it's still quite a delete button for our budget. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe's vetoes reduced the budget passed by the state legislature from $53.4 billion to $50.8 billion. For those of you other lawyers out there, that's a difference of $2.6 billion. The cuts to spending are included in the governor's 208 vetoes and 32 expenditure withholdings. A veto is when the governor essentially deletes a spending item. A withholding is when the governor holds spending back pending a review of tax receipts. So those 32 expenditure withholdings could come back, but that's really up to the governor. So what was cut? Over $1 billion of the cuts involves a federal program for road improvements, and there's a disagreement about whether that money was allocated by the legislature correctly. The rest of the cuts are a mix of spending on programs throughout the state, including cuts on improving rural roads, fixing sewage systems, spending on educational programs, funding addiction treatment, and increasing resources for Missourians with developmental disabilities. Missouri state legislators can override these cuts in September when they come back to Jefferson City for what's called veto session, or they can choose to just let these cuts go through without any resistance. The governor argues that these cuts are necessary. He points to the legislature increasing spending on public education by a few $100 million more than he recommended. The governor's line item veto power does not allow him to cut money allocated for public schools, so he had to cut from other programs, including some of those associated with education. The governor also claims that Missouri's revenues are shrinking, especially with a new cut to capital gains taxes that he supported that will reduce state tax receipts by an estimated $400 million. Some legislators, including those in the governor's same political party, argue that revenues are not shrinking at the rate that the governor is estimating and think that the cuts are not appropriate. And others are critical of the governor for cutting important programs while pushing for a tax cut that benefits the wealthy the most. You can see a full list of the spending cuts on the governor's website at governor.mo.gov. Do you think the cuts are appropriate? What would you like to see in Missouri's state budget? Let us know in the comments.